All right. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And we haven't been on the show in a while. And I hope you can relate to our topic. What's our next move going to be? First world people. And I'm specifically talking to first world people. What is our next move going to be? We have been running from pillow to pole, looking for solutions to solve some man made problems and some major catastrophes. But we're looking to the African Americans, the first world people, to come up with a solution. As you know, we are solution oriented and we have been working towards a solution. A lot of us have been wasting time marching, tearing up our own cities, looting, and robbing in our communities. I want to caution each and every one of you African Americans that we do not solve anything by destroying our own community. We're going to have to look at sitting down to the table, coming up with some strategic planning. And what I mean by that is planning that we can connect virtuously online with every individual in our neighboring states and cities and metropolitan areas. We have done such a bad job of responding to this retaliation. We have to be put on notice that we cannot be reactive to all of these things that are happening. We have to be proactive and prayed up and planned up so that we know what we're going to do. Right now, you have a number of the people just running scared, not knowing ahead of time what they're going to do if they're in a situation that calls for desperate needs. Now, in desperate times, it calls for desperate solutions. We're beyond trying to mend something back. What has been broken is broken. We have to throw it out and start all over. That's right, we're throwing the baby out with the bath and we're starting over with new solutions. So if you have any solutions that you would like to contribute, I suggest you call in and submit your suggestions. This is a radio station, it is Spreaker, and I would like to say I do not express the views of the radio station, Spreaker. I am speaking only on behalf of Sherelle Omienka Garth, and this is Organic Broadcasters. We're broadcasting live here in the city. We'd like for you to call in with your answers and call in with your statements. We are eager to bring you here to be a part of our show. You got all moved upstairs. Bullshit. So, we'd like to present to you a couple of solutions. Ignore the background noise. Sometimes it gets a little noisy around here. And it's very hard to go in to the studio to record. So we're going to be talking about solutions, and you can call in on our phone line. And if you'd like to chat with me, you can personally chat with me today. I am Omienka. I am here to serve you. I'm Omienka 7. And on this show, Omienka 8, on Organic Broadcasters Live, I'm bringing you news. And this is not fake news. But I do want to say that a lot of us have escaped the coronavirus. So why do you think that's possible? And why are some of us not over inundated with the virus? Are our genes stronger? Are we able to avoid this attack? And exactly what kind of virus is this? Now, I'm not going to get into the virus tonight. I'm not going to get into pushing and pulling about whether or not it is from our 5G or if it's from a real virus. I'm not going to get into that. But what I am going to say is that who started this whole thing? And what was the purpose of it? Was it to eliminate human bodies and to decrease on the population? If so, we've done a pretty good job of killing off a lot of people. A lot of people went down who didn't have coronavirus, but they had to have on their death certificate died from coronavirus. Why was that? Why did every one of those diagnoses have to be died from coronavirus? Was there any connection there? We got to think about that. Inquiring minds want to know, what is the connection to all of the deaths in the hospital being diagnosed as coronavirus? Now, I notice you have heard or listened to several different counter-adverse men and women who believe completely different and who are on the other side of the rope, who have written many books and wrote many articles about their excruciating belief system and how they don't believe that this just happened. It was all planned. So man plans, but God is the best of planners. So let's get on God's side today. So why not get on God's side and see what God can do for us? We've done everything else under the sun. We went and taken the virus. We went and got tested. And now testing means nothing if you don't have a solution or an antidote. But God is always the solution to everything. As I told you, Oromala knows the inception of disease and he knows the solution. So why are we not contacting our ancestors, asking them to play a part in this examination, asking them to come on the scene? Some of us are true spiritualists and we have tapped into our ancestor power and we have begun to speak to our ancestors and plead for a solution and an answer. Some of us have gotten answered, and then there's those who are still waiting. If you are spiritual at all, I want you to tap into these airways and this vibration and get on the wave this time and stay on the wave, because there's something really fishy and there's something in the soup that don't taste right, that stinks. And we know that this thing didn't just happen. It's been planned for eons of years and just waiting for the showdown from the lowdown. Now here's the showdown from the lowdown here on this show. We know that there's no disease known among man that Oromala cannot solve, cure, give help, support. So once you get on the right side of spirituality, you realize that Oromala knows the inception of man and woman, that we kneel down beside him and asked to come here, and we entered into a contract with him. We all are under contracts with Oromala. We came here to do something, people. Maybe it's to solve the mystery of the coronavirus. Maybe it's to bring the lid down on the actual laboratory testings and documentation. Maybe we're here to solve this panacea. But we're here to do something because we're living through this major catastrophe and we're living to tell somebody about what options we have. So what are the options that we have? What can we do? We can go to our ancestors. We can call on our Orishas. We can pull down some mighty, powerful, spiritual clientels who have died over eons and make sure that we call their names so they are with us and present and accounted for. But we can no longer run scared. We can no longer throw our hands up and say, throw your hands up. We can no longer do that. We must strike back. The force is with us and the force is very strong. So we have to stand up to this major panacea. We have to look into the eyes of this thing that's coming to take our breath away. Some of you fought through the coronavirus. You fought night and day and you won, and you came back stronger than ever before. Some of you have never had that choking feeling of the coronavirus choking you down to the point where you cannot suck your own saliva. Now, we know that there's some people that won in the war against the coronavirus, and they're living to tell the story. Where are you? Come on the air. Talk about your story, how you fought through the coronavirus and made it through. Some of you are success winners, and you ought to be on this airway talking about the goodness of God and how he spared you through the coronavirus and how you made it through. Well, let me tell you, all of us have been touched one time or other by this coronavirus. Maybe we wrestled it down. We did not let it go through to our chest cavities. We choked it up. We spit it out. But a lot of us have already experienced that, and we know it. And some of you mothers have taken care of those children that were destined to die from the coronavirus. And they weren't seniors, and neither did they have any compromising disease. This thing that we're talking about, we have got to take it on with the understanding that there is a way to fight it. And with the ancestors standing by, they want to fight this war for you. They said they don't want you to get your hands dirty. They will go to bat for you and fight this coronavirus. It is an army. But we got an army of believers that can come against this coronavirus and speak highly of Oromala and what he's capable of doing. So we must get in the spirit. And we must understand that only the Spirit will understand the natural things. You cannot begin to understand natural things until you understand what the Spirit is trying to say to you. Hush! The Spirit is trying to say something to us right now. And we ought to be able to hear it in the Spirit. Have clairvoyancy, being able to see into the Spirit. Have the ability to have clear audio, be able to hear into the Spirit. And some of you have the ability to send frequencies and vibrations, but you're not sending the vibration. You're not sending the frequency. You're not even talking to anyone about the gifts you have. Why? Has somebody frightened you and scared you away? Well, there are many of us who are people of the cloth, men and women. Many of us who are clairvoyant, who are dreamers, many of us who are clairaudio, who have the gift but are afraid to say they have it. We all have it. It's not just given to you and you. God has no respect of person. What he's done for me, he'll do for you too. We all have this ability, but we got to stir up the gifts and make the gifts applicable so that they won't become dormant. If you take your gifts and bury them, you won't prevail. But if you take your gifts and sharpen your tools and use your gifts, you will come out front every time. Many of us need to have a regulating change of heart. Our hearts are wicked and desperately wicked, and who could know it? When we set our heart on wickedness is becoming to us. But when we don't let the vile wickedness into our souls, into our spirit, we stand a chance of winning because we can fight it off with the help of the Almighty. Say, the Almighty is Olodumare. Olodumare wants you to understand that he gave you your own personal God to wear on your head, and his name, or he or she or it, is called Ori. You have your own personal God that sits with you and walks with you and plans with you, and that is always there to give you that first unction, telling you, no, don't go up that hill. Stay away from that place. Keep out of there. Just the first silent voice is what I want you to hear, because that is the unction of the Spirit talking to you, but you won't ever know it if you are so noisy and there's too much noise around you. You can't perceive it. Now we want to get our audio together. So we're tuning into the right thing at the right time. Some of us are running after filthy lucre, and that's cash money. Some of us think that that is our all solution. Money is the beginning of wickedness. It is not your all solution. Those that are gifted with the money are chosen as good stewards who are able to reside and have stewardship over a small amount, and now the Creator wants to reward you with greater amounts to manage. God's not going to give you money to manage if you are a mismanager, if you are throwing it to the wind. God is not going to greet you with the blessing that's so great that you can't even hold it in your bosom, unless you prove yourself worthy over a few things. How many of you are worthy out there today to fight this battle? Because if you're worthy to fight the battle, God is going to reward you. Not when you get to heaven, but here on this plane. And I know a lot of you want to be rewarded now. Now faith. And you can call faith into existence right now. You don't have to wait till you die in the sweet by and by. Stop letting people tell you that you're going to get your robe and your slippers when you get to heaven. Where is heaven? Where is heaven in the mind of the man or woman? Is it in the atmosphere? Or is it a mind? There is no heaven out there in the atmosphere. And don't let anybody tell you that there's a devil and a heaven out there, because they're lying. And you've got to get the clear understanding and get the lowdown on what the real deal is. Else you will be looking to get trinkets when you die, and there will be no trinkets for us. God said that we will wear a robe. What is the significance of wearing a robe? Does it show our royalty? Does it show our good character and good conduct? Iwa Pelu? Well, that's what we have to stand on. Good character, good conduct. Iwa Pelu. Anybody knows that your character is far greater than any money that you could ever get. If your character goes ahead of you and it stinks, before you get there, you're going to be stinking to the high hyena. And nobody's going to want to deal with you because you have poor character. It's very vital that we get this thing straight. We're not like everybody else. We are different. We have been set aside. We've been sanctified to do the work of God. Now let us sanctify each one of our infants and toddlers and children and set them aside to do the work of God. Some of you mothers are not pleading the blood over these babies, and you're not asking God to set them aside to do his work. And they're out in the street doing all kinds of manners of terrible things. That's because we haven't dedicated them. We've got to dedicate these babies, and we got to set them up for a higher choice of selection of work. They cannot just be given over to the system to be killed and shot down. We have to plead that every child that is born this day will mount to something, will have some value. And even my little baby grandson, I decree that he is called here to do something great. I decree that little Ferrari has been called here to be dedicated back to God to do his work. So you have to decree a thing, and then it will be so. Don't just walk around here saying, I think I plead the blood, I think I got this. No, you got this when you do a dedication and when you demand something. God said, command you me. Command God to do the work that he promised you he would do. Don't let God get off the hook, because he serves you. You don't serve God. God serves you. And we got to get this thing straight, because we are God's, and God resides on our head, and our head is called Ori. Don't forget it. Now we got some work to do. We got some powerful work to do. There is a big problem, is big, The big problem is big. We got to grow up and get over the problem. Because right now, as African American, we are messing up on these streets. We are running wild, running rampant, and we are fighting everything we think we're big and bad enough to fight. Then fight to win. Fight to win. Fight Mother Nature. You're already coming up against Mother Nature as it is. And we don't realize Mother Nature is our friend. She is our best friend. And all of the Orishas are rooting for us. And they're supporting you to do good and not evil. There's too many of us that want to do evil in this world. An eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. And too many want to get our gun and our pistol and do some harm. But what can you do when your weapons are not carnal? Through the pulling down of the stronghold. Your weapons are mighty than a two-edged sword. So pull up your two-edged sword, which is your mouthpiece, and use your mouthpiece to give the gospel of peace and talk about the goodness of God. Because we can win this thing. We can overthrow Corona and all those imps and dips that are with them. We can put it to rest. Let's put this one to bed, and we can count on it. But we can't do it when we're afraid and we're going back and forth in and out of these hospitals, laying down, getting a respirator hooked up to us, and we're putting ourselves in bad position. And we know that the ancestors can heal us. I watched the ancestors heal some people that had the coronavirus. I watched the ancestors come in and grab that person and pull that coronavirus out of their system. I watched that person sweat through fevers. I know it's possible. And we've got to get that in our mind and stop giving over to death. Nobody wants to die. Look at all the people who've given themselves over to death. Nobody wants to leave this plane. We got much work to do. Much work to do. And where much work is required, God will give us the know-how to do what we have to do. There's people right now still being blessed through Trump. Trump has blessed a lot of people financially. And they don't want to tell the story that Trump went out of his way to help financially get people back on an economic status. I will give that man his prompts. Because that's exactly what he's done. When people have got their heart set on being down against him, they will not say anything about the money that he put in our bank accounts. Well, I'm here to say I thank Trump for the money he put in our bank accounts. And I think he is trying to make America great again. Whether it be through giving us checks and jobs, but he's also cleaning out this rubbish of people who are carrying on this sex change. He wants them out of here. Now, I know right now we are getting ready to vote in a president, and we don't want Trump, and we don't want this one. Then who are you going to bring in? Who? Who do we have in a position to bring somebody in? We've got to look at this thing seriously. Trump was the only one that could handle this major panacea while it's been going on. I don't know any other man that can walk in and take over and handle this. If it is, let him step up to the plate. But we got a lot of work to do. And we got to move on this now. Now we got to move on this. And we got to move on this to getting our ancestors and getting all of those shoulders that we stand on. Because our ancestors hadn't heard from us, they are fretting over the fact that we haven't called on them to ask them for help. We haven't even bowed our knee and told them, we need you, ancestors. We need you. We have not even began to dedicate our loved ones back to the Creator, because these young babies that are coming back here as elders, and we've got to dedicate them back for our good purpose, because they're soldiers. We got to put them in the right position and show them where to aim at. Right now they're misguided and they need plenty of help, and we can do that. You're speaking to Omi Inca 7 live here on the Omiinka 8 as well on the Spreaker broadcaster. I'd like to thank every one of you for being with me today. I've been away for a while, been dealing with some personal family business with a sick loved one, and I've been fighting against blindness, trying to lift up the name so that vision will come to all people. So I've been working very hard with my family, focusing in on trying to bring vision to them in a world of darkness. But sometimes, Lord, I know that you don't really have a person blind spiritually. They choose to be blind spiritually. But this thing called blind, we want to put an end to it. We want to put a stop to it. We want to give vision to the sight to those who have been crying out to God, asking them to give them vision. And we're going to stand on the word that God is able. He is able to bring vision to those who are without sight. And that's what I've been dealing with for the last couple of months. And that's why you haven't seen me. I've been helping my brother who is blind and my sister who is blind. I'm not afraid to say that. I solicit your prayers. I ask that you will stand in the gap for me, for Maddie Harvey and J.C. Jenkins. They are two beautiful souls who have been seeking their vision back, and they're believing and standing on the faith that they will see again. So, in all honesty, there's a war against blindness, and it comes to us through cataracts and many other diseases, but we're believing that the sight will be given back to the blind. We're believing. We're standing on it. And I ask that you will stand on the faith of God, that he will bring vision back to my two siblings. And once again, ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to Omiinka 7 live from the Blog Talk Show, as well as Omiinka 8 here on Spreaker, on the, not Spreaker, well, actually the Organic Broadcaster. And if you haven't been out to listen to the Blog Talk Oracle Divination Network, please go out and sign up. So for many of you women who are priestess, who are women of the cloth, who are seers, who are also clairvoyant, clairaudio, go out and sign up, because that is where you can get much information from women who and men who are just like yourself. We practice oracle divination readings, and we support each other's effort to become an independent consultant, a priestess, or a Babalaw, a Petibi, a Yalade. So we encourage each one of you to take your places, take your appropriate places, and allow the Creator to use you and be about the Spirit. Once again, you are listening to the topic of moving on and what are we going to do next, and what are we going to do next about making a change. Number one, we're going to stop marching. We're going to ask people to come out of those streets and stop looting. Number two, we are not going to terrorize our cities and destroy beautiful places like Indianapolis. And we're going to get our voices heard through intellectually talking and not fighting physically, because we fought enough and a lot of people have not been healed. There's too many people that are still sick, not from the coronavirus, but they are heartbroken. They've lost jobs, they've lost children, they've lost businesses. It's been a real trying time in these last couple of months. We have done more damage to our universe in these last couple of months. I don't know what God's plan is, but each and every one of you are God. You should be defining what your plan is for you and your loved ones. You should also be utilizing, tapping into all of the Orishas, talking to the Orishas, making sure that you ask them to help you in your plan for success. Asking the Orishas, the special ones that you want to hold up and make requests to, feed them. Make sure you feed them and give them gifts and offerings so that they can hear your prayers too. Now, Most of us don't realize that a prayer is just a murmur, and God makes intercession for us for what we don't know to pray for. So if you can't say a word, then groan. God don't mind if you moan and groan, because he makes intercessions for your moanings and groaning. He will answer those prayers that are good prayers. Okay? Not all prayers are answered, and we know not all prayers are good prayers. One of the things I want you to know is that it's been a pleasure to be a part of the airways, to speak to you, to have a platform. I feel rather honored that I can come here today, unmolested, to speak to you without someone beating me over the head or molesting me or telling me to get off the air. So we have to be honored and show homage. And that homage that we show will give us more homage and respect. I know that there was a time when blacks could not assemble and come together, and neither could they come on the airways and speak like I'm speaking. I'm a rightly guided individual by God, and he has commissioned me to come on to speak to you. Has nothing to do with how I feel or what I believe, but when you're an evangelist, you've been commissioned and called to speak the good news and carry the gospel. Carry the gospel, not gossip, okay? It's very important that each one of you be an evangelist, because we are all called to become an evangelist. And that means we must carry the good news. Don't keep it in your own heart, and don't keep it for your children and for your girlfriend, your wife, but share it with somebody. Make sure you tell them about my radio show. Give me the 2 thumbs up, like and share, and go and become a follower. Don't just be snooping around here. Become a follower. I'd love to have you as a follower, not just a friend. I do need and solicit for your likes as well. Please go out and like my show on the Organic Broadcaster. Like my show on Oracle Divination Network. Like me on Facebook and also YouTube. We want to get you in on this thing. I've been at this for over 10 years now on Blog Talk. 10 years, a whole decade, with me running my mouth, saying stuff to you guys, trying to get you to hear me and give in and become a vessel, become an actual instrument, a tool that God can work with and use to make a difference in our communities. Our communities are going down slowly, and we need help. But we're not soliciting help just from anyone. We're going to help ourselves. God helped those who help themselves. And only the black man can save the black man. I want to say that again. Only the black man can save the black man, or the first world indigenous person. Because we gotta pick our own stuffs up. And we gotta go out and do strategic planning and lay down foundations and stop asking for handouts, and stop waiting for someone to solicit and give us something. We have to understand that right now we're in a trying time, and we have real serious problems. People can be killed out on those streets any moment over nothing, just a gesture or a look. But we got to stop the killing. We got to start trying to preserve life and bring young people to an agreement that lives matter, and you cannot just kill people and think nothing of it, because you're going to pay for those souls that you've taken out of here. And I do want you to understand that when I say it's time to move, that means that we cannot be in one stable position. We got to be ready to go wherever God calls us or sends us. Because this is a time when people are going to be moving to different places, making changes in other cities, and networking with different people from all over the planet. This whole earth has been shaken up. And not because of coronavirus, but in spite of coronavirus, we've got to do something different to show them that we're not going to let a virus come in and overtake us. It's very vital that we get this message. You gotta get that. It's very vital that we get this message and take this message to the streets. This is the kind of message you want to take to the streets. Taking it to the streets. Taking it to the streets. You know, Marvin would, if he had been here, he'd be taking this message to the streets, talking to the people on the street. Mother, mother, everyone thinks we're wrong. But who are they to judge us? Simply 'cause our hair is long. Oh, we got to find a way to bring some love in here today. Picket line, don't punish me with brutality. Come on and talk to me so that you can see. Oh, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Be like Marvin and talk to me so that we can see what's going on. Well, you know, a lot of friends have passed on that we might not even know about. That they may have been here today and they're gone tomorrow. A lot of our friends have parted this earth because of coronavirus. But we're not going to give coronavirus the credit for any of this. We're going to get on our P's and Q's, and we're going to start talking and communicating and having small groups. I know I haven't been on here in a while. I've been tending to some business in my own family life. Sometimes you can get so tied up in other people that you don't have time to tend to your nuclear family. Well, I had to take some time. And I'm still taking some time. I'm not all the way here yet. And I'm not all the way fixed myself. I'm still fixing me. If you allow me the time to fix myself and get me together, then maybe I'll have more time to talk to you about things we can do together. But there's a lot of people who don't have no mission in this world. They're just here. They're like an amoeba. They're here to eat everything, consume everything, have no plans for how they're going to change this earth. Look at all of the things that need to be changed. And if you just had one plan, just one plan of how you're going to change this earth, we could all make a difference. But people are so busy waiting for the next person to make that change, make that move. Sometimes you need to stand still. There was a time I told everyone to stand still, don't move. It's time to move now. It's time to move. Say it to your neighbor. It's time to move now. You got to move in order to get up that mountain. See, the goat says slow and steady. He didn't say run up that mountain. No, the goat don't do that. The goat goes slow and steady. Keeping it together, moving right on time. They may shuck in their job, but they don't play. So they keeping it together, moving on up that mountain and accomplishing something a little bit at a time. If we try to do everything in one night, we will fall apart. That's why you find so many people ready to faint, tired all the time, broke down, because they try to do everything in one session. God never told you to come and be presentable. He said he wasn't through with you yet. And he still has to work with you one day at a time. So don't think you're going to get all the message from me in one setting. I'll give you a little bit. John and Susie will come and water it. But God's going to give the increase because you take one day at a time to slowly progress. Patience is a virtue. And we got to learn patience. I don't care what we're doing. We got to learn patience because those that are ripping and running, trying to get something done fast, they ain't moving, going nowhere fast. They just running themselves down. And they soon going to find out that they're more tired than ever before and they haven't gotten nothing done. Well, we got to be solution oriented. And we got to make sure that when we go to bat, we have things planned out. We structure things. We don't just jump up and start doing something without any plans. You must have a plan before you move out. When you move out, you have that plan so you don't end up regressing and going back to that old stage and consuming what you once had. You're ready for the change and the move. So when I say move, you move just like that. When I say move, you move just like that. When I say move, you move just like that. And we've got to get this thing down right, because too many of us are out of order. We're way off base and we can't get things straight because one's going left and the other's going right. We want to be simultaneously headed in the same direction. So when we move together just like that. But we cannot come on these airways misguiding the people, telling them to get up in arms, go get you a gun, because boy, we get ready to hit the streets. And then you got fools that are hitting the streets that are tearing things up, that are looting, catching a case and a charge, because they've looted and went in these stores, and now they got a misdemeanor and a felony too. Oh no, we gotta slow it down. We gotta slow our rolls and make sure we don't give people the wrong instruction, because people are headed for destruction. Now, this is just your Omi speaking to you, letting you know that I do care. I am concerned about what's going on out here in these streets. It wasn't that I skipped the scene because I wasn't ready to say anything. No. I had real business to tend to. We had a death in the family. We had to solidify that death and bring people into one consciousness. So I've been working and actively working. But I want to tell you, it's very vital that we know what we're moving to and moving from. Don't just move because somebody said, girl, move. No, sister, I ain't moving until the Spirit tells me to say so. And the Spirit will usually be the one to come to you, girl, gonna move. You need to move. But a lot of us move too quickly and sometimes not fast enough. But we got to rely on the Spirit. The Spirit will come to you and say, girl, you need to go ahead and move. Girl, I told you to move. Get on up and move. But a lot of us who practice listen to the Spirit, we hear the Spirit when it's talking to us, and we know when these Orishas are responding to us, and we know when our ancestors have come back and whispered in our ear what to do with that problem, solution. But we can't do any of these things. We can't do any of these things. So we're about to end this now. I want to thank you for lending me your ears, for coming here this evening to listen to me. I am back now, and I'm ready to move. So I'm telling you to move. Move on down the way, but take one step at a time. Don't run with it, but walk with it. If you could walk with me now, I'll let you run with me later. Come on, let's move on this. Come on, people. We can do this. People, get ready. The train is coming. You don't need no ticket. Just get on board. People, get ready. 'Cause the train is coming. You don't need no ticket. Just get on board. Let's move on this one. Thank you very much. You've been a blast for the evening. Thank you.